everybody. Welcome to Tonya's Tea. But anywho, I'm gonna go ahead and get started because, like I said, I like to keep them 15 minutes to honor everyone's time. But hello, I cannot see names right now, but hello to all of you. And for those of you who do not know, I am your host, Tonya. Was that a cough? We still got some coughing going on over here. For those of you who don't know, we have been sick. So anyway, my name is Tonya, and I am your host, the host of Tonya's Tea. Tonya's Tea is a weekly show where I inspire, encourage, and uplift everyone, and you all uplift me too. Everyone who watches. All right, so let's get right to it. I am excited about today's topic. Today's topic is self-care or self-love. And I want to know if you think self-care and self-love is the same thing. Comment below. Do you feel like, or do you think that self-care, self-love is the same thing? It's synonymous. There's no wrong answers. Just comment below. Yes, I think it's the same. No, I think it's different. So what I like to do, if you've been watching me for a while, then you know that periodically I like to just look up words and get the definition of them. And then based on that definition, I come to the conclusion of what I want that word to mean to me. Because my coach Kelly, she told me, Tonya, you get to define what success looks like. What? I get to define a word that's already defined? Yeah. So anyway, same thing. Self-care, self-love. But for the sake of the show, I looked up the definition. So here is the definition of self-care. And I'm going somewhere with this, y'all, so be patient. Self-care is defined as the practice is of taking action to preserve or improve one's own health. That is what the definition of self-care is. Let me read it again. It is the practice of taking action to preserve or improve one's own health. Now, what does self-love say then? Okay. Self-love is defined as a sense of self-worth or pride in one's character or morality. Okay, so self-love is defined as a sense of self-worth. You have a sense of self-worth or pride in one's character or morality. All right, I asked Scotty and Demi before the show how they felt. Do y'all feel like it's the same? Do you feel like it's different? And so Scotty, he put a different twist to it. Because my opinion, that they go hand in hand. Okay? And I'll tell you why in a second. But Scotty said that to him, self-care is something that you do to you, for yourself. And self-love is something that's outside of you. It's something you love, but it's for you, but it's outside of you. I'm like, okay. I can see that. But let me tell you why I think that they both go hand in hand. Because when you have a sense of self-worth, which is the definition of self-love, then you will practice taking actions to preserve or improve your health. So that's why I think they go hand in hand. Now let's talk about health. Health could be your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, all of that. Did I say mental? Spiritual, physical, mental, emotional. Yeah. It can be all of that. But comment below. When you think of your self-care practices, what comes to mind? What do you do? What are some of your self-care practices? And I'm gonna tell you mine. One of mine is there's nothing like a nice bubble bath, bubbles or no bubbles, a nice bath at the end of a long day, and I'm just laying in there listening to some music, whatever music my spirit wants to listen to that night. It could be R&B, it could be old school, it could be whatever, jazz, whatever. That's just how I end my day, and that is one of my practices. For some people, comment below. But for some people, it's like going to get the nails and toes done. But I don't like that. I'm not girly like that. So that's not mine. Everybody's will look different. Everybody's self-care routine or practice will look different. Okay, Sally said, yes, a long bath, resting with a glass of wine and candles. Yes, ma'am. Yes, I can hang out with you, Sally. Girl, we be in this big old room with a bath over there and a bath over there, and then we got our wine. I don't like wine, but I'll find something I like. And candles, whew, it's nothing like it. It's so relaxing. All right, so yeah, anybody else? Comment below. What do you think of when you think of self-care? What comes to mind? If you don't think you have a self-care practice, well, what do you think it looks like? Because today's show is about a side. I want to talk about a part of self-care that you don't hear about a lot. And at least I know I didn't. Let me talk about me. I never thought about it this way until I was talking to my friend, and I'm not sure if she's on here. I asked her at the last minute. Her name is Siobhan Jordan. Y'all, I'm sorry. Y'all hear me sniffing that stuff back up. But her name is Siobhan. Are you on here? I met her in 2020 at the my weight loss coach's camp. She was another success story, and we just clicked and stay in touch maybe once, twice a year. But I talked to her before Christmas, and she shared with me her perspective of self-care practice that she has that blew my mind. This is what she said. Siobhan, you're not on here? Because I said, Siobhan, can't nobody tell it like you tell it. But she was busy when we Marco Polo each other, and she was busy. So she's probably studying or something. But anyway, she said, Tonya, self-care, y'all sit down if you're standing, because this is going to blow you off your feet. She said, Tonya, self-care doesn't always feel good. She said, especially on the front end. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you her story. Okay, so let me tell you what Siobhan told me. And Siobhan, if you go back and watch the replay and I left something out, because I'm not you, please comment. You know, she's also a coach, y'all. She's a nurse practitioner. She's a life coach. She's just so smart. Beautiful. I want her on the show one day to tell her story. Share her weight loss story and just life story. She's beautiful inside out. But anyway, let me get back to the, y'all see how I get distracted. But anyway, so this is what happened. Right before Christmas, and this prompted this show topic, is our conversation. Right before Christmas, she had decided that she was going to set some boundaries and stop so much people pleasing. Okay? And that can look like, what it looks like for her might be different than what it looks like for you. But anyway, before Christmas, she was having this conversation with somebody. I don't know who this somebody was, but this conversation wasn't going in a way that was in alignment with Siobhan's self-worth, her beliefs, her morals, what she would and would not tolerate. Okay? And so her self-care practice was telling that person that I feel like this when you say that, or when you do that, and therefore this conversation is going to end. I can't remember if it was a conversation or the relationship, but I'm gonna say conversation. She said, Tonya, that was the hardest thing for me to do. Is when you tell someone that I'm feeling this way when you do or say this, and therefore I'm deciding to end this. Y'all, that is self-care. It does not feel good. It's kind of uncomfortable, especially if you're a people pleaser or you just want to be nice and you don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. But guess what? If you're being nice to them, then you're not being nice to yourself. And most of the time, we're being nice to them and not telling them how we truly feel because of what we think that they're going to think about us. Ooh, they might think I'm not nice. They might think that I'm mean or I'm not as sweet as everybody else or as I appear to be to everybody or whatever. Now, y'all, this is Siobhan words, but in Tonya's language. Okay? She said, so what it really is, it boils down to when we don't practice that type of self-care, what it boils down to is what we fear, what we think that person's going to think about us. She said, but she practiced it before Christmas, and it was hard. So, y'all, do you have a self-care practice that seems hard? That's not all bubbly and champagne and roses like me and Sally like? Because that is part of mental self-care. When you're deciding to set boundaries when it comes to relationships, when it comes to conversations, when it comes to what you will and will not do, when it comes to you saying yes when you want to say yes and no when you want to say no. It's called, the world likes to call it, you being selfish. So, selfish. Y'all know I probably looked that word up too. Let me see. Selfish. We all know what it is. We all know the connotation that comes with it, the negative connotation. But look that word up, that word selfish up. There is absolutely nothing wrong with being selfish. Selfish is self-care. Selfish is self-love. And if somebody's got a problem with you deciding to put you first, then guess what? That's their problem. Because when you practice self-care, you are preserving and improving your health. All right, let me see what Felicia says. I agree. When I'm overwhelmed with taking care of others, I just get in my car and drive in no particular place, music blast and sing it out. Yeah. That's good self-care practice too. It's just driving away for a moment of peace by yourself. Getting away. That is a form of saying yes to you, Felicia. You're saying no to mama for a second, for a few minutes, for a few hours, but you're saying yes to Felicia. So if you're saying yes to someone when you really want to say no, then ask yourself, well, what am I saying no to? If I'm saying yes to them, then what am I saying no to as far as when it comes to me? What am I denying myself? So that's what I want to talk about today, y'all. How are you going to practice self-care this week or self-love, whether you look at them as the same or not? How are you going to practice it in a way that you never have before? I'm going to practice honoring my yeses. I'm going to practice honoring my decisions to do what feels right for me, not for Scotty, not for Demi, not for my church, not for my family, but for me. Okay? All right, Sally, thank you. I'm about to end it. So So how are you going to practice that? It's not easy, y'all. When you're a yes person like me, and you're always saying yes, and you're always considering everybody else's feelings above yours. Well, what would they think if I don't come? If I don't show up for the party? Well, what would they think if I say that joke was inappropriate? Or what would they think? Whatever. Hey, mama. Well, it's time, y'all. It's 2022, and it's time to practice self-care like you never have before. And it starts with your decision to start being honest with yourself about why you're willing to put someone else's needs, feelings, opinions before your own. All right. Any questions or comments or disagreements? That's fine. You can comment below. But I hope this made sense. I want everybody to get a limitless perspective of what self-care could look like. Think outside of the box this year. It's 2022. All right, and so you know what I'm about to say. The solution to your problems are not in the refrigerator. So shut the refrigerator and open your mind. Until next week. Bye.